Hey guys, I am Hunter Dino. I am your Dino Fury Pink Ranger and the new Cosmic Fury Red Ranger. I just met Gaz here because look at this, right? But I just heard about his YouTube channel, Action Activate. You guys should go check it out because he's amazing.
Well, it's me, Gazbot, and yeah, it's Action Activate. And if it's me, Gazbot, and Hunter gave us that awesome intro, and it's Action Activate, then with me, as always, is...
It is I. It is the big dog. Today, I am cosmically furious because we are recording later than we normally do on a day that we don't normally record because we watched an entire season, which we normally don't in one sitting.
Right. It technically came out last night at midnight, Thursday night, but we didn't watch that, and we just stayed off the internet today. And we watched all of Cosmic Fury, beginning to end, with like no real breaks other than I have to go pee or something like that.
Yep.
Which is honestly, it was fun, and it was fun to do with you, but it would not have been my preferred. If there was a way to watch it slower and not get spoilers, I would have, to be honest.
Agreed. I think the happy middle ground that we talked about in the past was doing what we did, which was nice because we did an R-rated commentary for our behind the scenes version.
At some point, you were saying words, and you said something to the effect of, "I wish I could just talk like this all the time. Maybe if there was a Patreon or something." I don't know if people would want to pay to hear you talk like that.
Probably not, but it was as unfiltered as you can get from me talking about Power Rangers.
Yes, for sure. Well, that raises questions about what you may have been saying, which I don't think you should repeat those things on this semi-family friendly thing. But what we're going to do is talk about our thoughts on Cosmic Fury, the whole season, possibly the last ever season of Power Rangers, but certainly the last of this era, and certainly for a year or two at least.
Yep.
So overall thoughts.
I thought overall, taking certain nitpicks out, it is an objectively good season.
Okay, I tend to agree. And also, huge spoilers. We're going to talk about the whole thing. So if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. Probably the most, potentially the most, go ahead.
I was going to say, just so we're clear, before we get too deep in the weeds, we do plan on reviewing each episode later on.
Right. But this is just we blew through it, and we're going to...
We literally started talking, and he's like, "Hey, why don't we just record this?"
Yep. The potentially, and I was going to say the controversial thing I'm going to say, but maybe it's not that controversial.
No, it's not.
I thought this was objectively better and personally more satisfying than Once and Always.
Ooh.
So maybe it is a bit controversial. What did you think I was going to say? Because you're like, no, it's not controversial.
I thought you were going to say that this is the last season of Power Rangers, which is...
No. This is an opinion-based thing, not a guessing at facts-based thing.
So I would have to rewatch Once and Always.
Yeah.
And I'd like to rewatch it now that I've finished Cosmic Fury, which we'll get into later.
Yeah.
But I would actually say, as a love letter to Power Rangers, Once and Always as kind of that little cherry on top for the 30th season, or 30th year, or however it plays out.
Anniversary is the word you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the 30th season technically, though, right?
Once and Always isn't a season.
No. Cosmic Fury, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I think it is. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about for Cosmic Fury. I think as a send-off of this era of Power Rangers, I think Once and Always hit that for me better than this. And I also think
this era, you mean since Mighty Morphin till now as
yes.
the era. Okay. Because I do think Cosmic Fury I mean, it touched on Mighty Morphin a little bit, well, more than a little bit, but I think it was a good send off for the sort of modern era of Power Rangers, if that makes sense. Like the like late Saban into Hasbro kind of era. Like I feel like this was the send off for that.
Yeah, I will say, Cosmic Fury thus far made me like Once and Always better.
Yes. Well, let me because we reviewed Once and Always as well, and the shortcomings of Once and Always, it's hard to be objective about it because maybe this one isn't objectively better. Like I say that, but what does that mean, and how do I know? But I feel like Once and Always had a lot more to live up to in a weird way, even though this is like the final season. We've had several final seasons, and it is another season of a million seasons, and it's 10 episodes, and it's kind of different than what we've had, but not that different. Whereas Once and Always was like, can you believe it? They're going back to Mighty Morphin, and it's going to be a whole special thing, and they're getting the crew back, but they didn't get the crew back. You know, they kind of got the crew back. Now, okay, one cast member is no longer with us. Fine. One cast member had political differences and behind the scenes things that made them not want to do it. Unfortunate, but okay. One cast member just didn't want to do it because we don't know why exactly. One cast member maybe wanted to do it, maybe didn't, maybe was asked, maybe had legal troubles, who knows. So we had I think it was two original cast members, and then like second and third generation cast members.
And also, there were two original cast members that are now passed. One of them, it's been so long, there's no way of knowing.
No way of knowing what?
If they would have done this or not.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. No, okay. JDF, let's just be clear. JDF is now gone. But they weren't gone when they were filming. So they could have been in it, but there were reasons they were not. Thuy Trang has been gone for decades. So whether or not she would be in it isn't really something I'm even considering. I'm just saying there was no way it could happen.
You were so beating around the bush, it was too ambiguous.
Sorry. Okay. So there were 6 original Rangers. And I'm not saying anything. This isn't like a weird rant like somebody else went on at some point about OGs. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not taking away from other Rangers. But just when you think about the first 6 actors to play those roles, when they do a reunion, you think they would get them. Maybe they get the others too, but like a lot of them had not been back in a very long time, if at all. And of those 6, 1 was gone. And of the 5 that were left, they only got 2. And so right off the bat, that's a little disappointing and isn't exactly what everybody would have wanted. And that doesn't mean you couldn't bring in the second generation, but they could have been in it in a different way or in a sequel or like, but so right away it was sort of like, oh, okay. And then it was a little bit shorter than I think a lot of us would like. And the Zord battle at the end was a little disappointing. And so it wasn't bad. And I enjoyed it. I liked the experience of watching it with you and everything, but I feel like it had a lot to live up to. And right off the bat, it was like not going to be what I wanted it to be, kind of,
I liked it, and now I like it more after watching Cosmic Fury. Because
I think I will like it more. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Back to Cosmic Fury.
Yes.
Because this is what we're talking about. It's a good season. It had really cool stuff. The downsides
was a great opener.
Yeah, first episode was awesome. And we will talk about it more in depth, episode by episode. But what I will say is the pros and cons of Cosmic Fury as a thing and not the show itself. Nothing plot related. We knew this was going to be the last one on Netflix. We knew that this was it for Power Rangers in New Zealand. We knew that, times they are a-changing.
Yes.
So we knew all this. The downsides of that are, it seems like, because I found this out from other people in the Ranger community, in the Ranger fan community, I should say, that Netflix apparently let people watch this for like over a month.
I wasn't sure if we're going to go there. I did see people talking about, here's how I saw people talking about it. Because again, we've talked about how we're in the Netflix fan community because we're fans and we are talking about it. But in any way that matters, we are not. Other than the people that are watching us right now, no one else knows we exist. And that's fine. That's not a complaint. That's just a fact. And so the way I found out that influencers or Power Ranger community, whatever you want to call it, were getting allowed to see these episodes early is by seeing people that were way more popular and influential and well-known than us going, oh, I guess I'm not good enough to get a free copy, or I guess I didn't get my invite or whatever. And I'm like, you at least knew there were invites.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know that until I saw you complaining. But yeah, so I do think that was weird, especially because there have been a lot of complaints about things getting leaked months before they get released in other countries and stuff. And she's like, no, same day release for everyone all at once. Okay, they leveled the playing field, except they still let people watch it. And so spoilers still came out.
Yeah. We got spoiled. Honestly, I feel like these spoilers might have been more mild than the Beast Morpher spoilers.
I agree. The twists and surprises of Beast Morphers were a little bit more easily ruinable, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Most, and again, we're going to talk about spoilers because everything in this is spoilers. So don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost everything that happened in the first episode, all the like surprises and things, I knew almost all of those.
Yep.
And as did you. And I think we were both glad that it happened right away, though, because it wasn't like. That being said, I think we both knew that Snide or Heckle was coming back, and that they would be the Dark Ranger armor that we never got to see in Dino Charge, which is great, but we kind of knew that.
Yeah.
I think I knew that Mick Kelson Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
Kelson Henderson. I always mix up his name.
I believe so.
I knew he was coming back and was strongly rumored that he would be a Ranger.
I didn't know he would morph at all. I just knew he was back because
you never watched Ninja Steel.
I did watch Ninja Steel. I know he was a Ranger in Ninja Steel.
Oh, I thought you didn't watch all of it.
I didn't watch all of it. I know that part.
Okay. Well, it is plausible to me that you didn't know that he morphed during Ninja Steel.
No, I knew spoiler for Ninja Steel. I know him, the dad, and the main Red Ranger are all Red Rangers at the same time.
But did you watch that episode, or you know that because of the toys?
I knew it from the toys first, and I think I watched the episode. I honestly, that whole 2 seasons kind of blends together for me as kind of meh. But anyways.
Well, the point is, I didn't know that for sure, but I saw a lot of people rumor.
So what I saw spoiled was apparently when you get a preview from Netflix, they like unlock it on your account.
Mm-hmm.
So it's as if like they have the access we have now, like way earlier.
Right.
So what someone did is they recorded like the preview that shows when you just hover over it, and it's Amelia talking to Kelson of here's everything you missed, and then somebody recorded that and then uploaded it like 3 weeks ago.
Right.
So I saw that, so I'm like, oh, he's in it. No clue he morphed, which was a fun surprise.
I mean, and that's not so bad as spoilers go because it's mostly a recap and one guest star. Of course, we all knew that Billy was going to be in it.
They promoted that though, so
I'm saying that wasn't a spoiler. That was that you wanted people to know. I will say it is kind of a bummer that the few guest stars they had were known, and it's a bummer that there weren't more and more surprise guest stars, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one thing that got me about the guests is like, I feel, and granted, obviously a lot of this is a logistics thing. For how many times we saw people like either Zords or teams referenced or anything. You had mentioned this on one of the episodes we were watching. Why don't they use stock footage? Yeah. Or if they have the suits lying around, just a quick little something. So we're like, hey, I've seen people that aren't from MMPR in this show. And I mean, Mick was cool. Obviously, the Dark Ranger is great. I'm not complaining about that. But, that's super going to get us taken down.
You think?
Yes.
I would not risk it. Speed, no sound, and this big.
We have the worst luck in the world.
How's that?
I say you just pause it. I think you pause, and if you move around, that's one thing. I think playing video is an awful idea.
All right, I didn't want to have to. I wanted to be able to concentrate on the conversation. I'll just leave it out.
Yeah, much appreciated. I think when they open that door of showing us what could be, I think, again, you don't need to show them. You don't need ADR for people. You don't need anything. It could be one thing that's in the show, since we're talking spoilers, is there's news footage of an attack that's going on.
Yeah.
Just kind of everywhere. And they did this in Once and Always also, which again, you could have used footage from this, just saying.
Yeah.
But hey, there's footage. All these other Ranger teams are getting pinned down and beaten. It's like, which ones?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because you'd see like civilians running from an explosion. All you need to do is have anybody wearing a Ranger suit going like that, or like get behind me, or anything, of any era.
Yeah.
And it's odd that they don't do that sort of stuff. But
I feel like, and I don't know any of the logistics of this, so I'm talking out of my butt, but I feel like they should at least have the Ranger suits from the last season or two on hand.
Well, even if, and they did Super Mega Force not too long ago, and they had every suit for that. So even if 75% of those suits got destroyed, stolen, lost, like you don't have a couple of them kicking around.
Yeah.
Like you said, like they don't have some of the Beast Morpher suits even, and
And in other seasons when this kind of stuff happens, it's, well, they can't afford it because they got to use this footage. This and Once and Always is just American footage.
Yep.
You're just kind of using what you got, so go for it.
Agreed with everything, and it seems like it'd be fun to put in. And even when, like, we're skipping around now, but at the end when the other Megazords show up, even if it was just like a cockpit shot of like the team being like, or something, or like a little out the window, or
I get that, like why they wouldn't include that more. Like I understand that more, because like again, you just it doesn't need to be cohesive. You could have literally a suit from each season just randomly cherry picked, but like you said, just stuff going on. So one of the new cronies blasting and they go, and then they fall, whatever. Yeah. Just the world building, I feel like they took halfway. And again, part of its budget, part of its logistics, whatever. But I feel like with what they were able to do, that kind of thing.
You know what? I'll even go one better, because like budget to logistics, we can't get what we'd really want. We're not getting these background things. Now, let's say there's some reason, I don't know why, they couldn't put a random suit actor in a suit and have them, be Lightspeed Blue for a minute or whatever. But what they could do is when they have lines like they did in the show many times where Billy or whoever's like, Rangers are in prison, or Rangers all over the world are fighting, they could say the Wild Force Rangers are fighting them back. They could say Casey from Jungle Fury is in prison. They could say, I
almost fake started this video of like, spoilers, I can't believe Casey made an appearance. That was the running joke for the two of us is Gazbot had said, if Casey shows up, we're pausing the video and we got to take a breath.
Yeah. But my point is, jokes aside, is that when they make references to other Rangers, other teams, name drop, that costs nothing. Yeah. So, but all the negativity, we did start saying that we generally liked it.
We did.
Yeah. I'll give a lot of, it's weird too, because a lot of this stuff we said as we were watching the episodes, but like overall, I had fun watching it.
Yeah.
And I think it was a good season. I'm fresh off it, but I feel like, was it the best season in the last couple of years? Maybe. I mean, Beast Morphers did have some awesome stuff going on, but there were also some crummy Tommy Tuba episodes, and like, so I think what it had going for is a few things. The fact that it was only 4 episodes, there was no filler. It was like, and it
10 episodes.
Nice. I said 4. I meant 10. I don't know why I said 4. 4 episodes. I think I was thinking that it was like 4 hours ish.
Oh yeah.
There was no filler. It was all relevant.
I would say total, there's 10 minutes of filler.
Okay, you could argue that, but it didn't feel like it because it was minutes in otherwise important episodes as opposed to whole episodes. The humor, there was only one piece of slapstick that we both groaned at a little bit, but wasn't that bad. And the humor overall worked for me. Mm-hmm. It very little of it bothered me, and I laughed out loud quite a few times.
Yeah, same.
Had good action, and it just it held my interest the whole time. Like, nitpicks aside, I mostly have good things to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so unfortunate because Hasbro's not saying anything about Power Rangers for a plethora of reasons. So we don't really know what's going to happen, what did happen. Are they going to promote this? Are they not? They kind of didn't. But this was a good foundation for this is a happy medium of appealing to all ages, but keeping adults entertained without dumb fart jokes in it.
I agree. All ages. It did feel like an all ages show. That's a perfect way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there were things that pushed the boundaries, if you even want to say that phrase, of like other seasons we saw where at one point Amelia gets cut and we see blood.
It wasn't even really blood though. It was like a line. It wasn't
but again, we haven't seen that in so long. It's like, oh, it's so edgy. No, like that's fine. You can put it in there. It showed how serious that situation was. There are moments where we think people die.
I do like how he went to that cut before Javi losing his arm.
Oh yeah, So the thing about Javi losing his arm, and I in between watching and filming this, I looked up some things on Twitter. So Simon Bennett did say that they did work with a lot of people in the disabled community about the right way to do the prosthetic so it doesn't look very gaudy. Like it's functional, it's respectful, things like that, which I think is good. And the one thing, I didn't bring it up when we were watching, but I didn't know he lost an arm until he brought it up, because they did this weird thing where like they kind of just tucked it. They're like, my arm's gone.
I think I knew that, and I agree where it did look like it really felt like he was just tucking his arm behind him and they put a sleeve. But I did know right away for whatever reason. And then like he moved his sleeve or said something, and you're like, oh, and I'm like, what? And I thought something else had happened. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, you did? Oh, they are.
Yeah, it was interesting. Another thing that I thought was interesting was we had an evil ranger like the entire season.
Yeah. And
which was great.
He was only good for like 1.5 episodes, I think.
Yeah,
at the end.
1.5.
He only got his Cosmic Fury suit. We were talking about like 1 episode, I think.
That was a thing I wanted to bring up. So I had heard this before. I knew that this was happening, but I didn't know what it looked like. But I had heard that Ollie had a different costume that was original than the Cosmic Fury Rangers, because people, yourself included, have complained about some things they don't like about the Cosmic Fury suits. And then you see Ollie's...
I may have beat around the bush about this. I talked about Zato's like tan-colored suit and stuff. But just to be clear, I hate those suits. I hated them before I saw them, and like now that I've watched them, they're terrible. They're probably the worst suits I've ever seen in Sentai or Power Rangers. The helmets are okay.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's that bad.
I will agree with you. I don't like the sharp points.
They have fake muscles and fake chests for the ladies, and it's all foam, which is a weird choice that I don't agree with anyway. Because it almost is like, if you're gonna do it, go over the top. Like, remember, like In Space had the Battleizer with the crazy ripped. Yeah, that's not my favorite thing, but it kind of worked. It looked, okay, they're a big muscular weird superhero person. This looks like when you're a kid and you buy a Power Rangers suit that has built-in muscles. That's what it looks like. Yeah. And these are all actors that are in great shape, both the civilian actors and the stunt actors. They don't need fake muscles. All that aside, and this is what I point out to you, the thing that really kills me is, it's very clear there's like a big hole here with a line, so you can see they're wearing a vest under it. It's like, it's not even like the muscles continue down the arms, which I wouldn't like, but at least to be consistent.
Yeah,
it's just bad. I would have rather they kept the exact same suits, change a little bit on the helmet paint, and put the armor on top of it, give them new weapons. Fine.
Yeah,
didn't need all that other stuff. It's terrible.
So in that same vein, Ollie gets an evil suit that actually looks really cool.
It does. It looks great. And so does
the Master Zed suit looked really cool.
Yeah. They both look awesome.
So here is a thing that is a nitpick on Hasbro and not on this show.
Okay.
Everything we said, even with the complaints, were cool. I don't know when the fuck we're ever getting toys of these.
We are trying to make it family friendly.
I felt very passionately and forgot, and I'm sorry that was at 23:40.
I might leave that in because I wanted to just throw this up and go to sleep.
I'm sorry, but I'm frustrated that is a thing.
Yeah. Clearly. We're getting raw, people. We're getting raw.
But
I think you're allowed to have one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie.
You are.
As long as we keep it at one. We'll be okay.
But back on track, the frustration of it is, and we've talked about this for the third time today, not to mention in other videos, is that Power Rangers started as a toy commercial, and then us as adults go, hey, we'd really like these things. And Hasbro goes,
maybe.
Why don't you guys buy our stuff? Why don't you put the stuff that's on your toy commercial on Netflix? You guys aren't buying the 3 things we put out. What are you doing?
I'll tell you what, though. I am buying the 3 things they put out.
I'm buying one of the
Mail
things
today?
they put out.
This came in the mail today.
Oh, mine shipped, but it's not here yet.
I bought it immediately. It was very fortuitous timing to come today. And
Yeah.
I played this during the day and then I watched it. So they, I mean, I can't speak for the world, but like, I mean, I have a ton of Lightning collection behind me. You know, it's not like I don't buy their stuff. Oh, Big Dog's digging for something.
And even when they don't make it for years,
yes,
we get it on our own.
yeah, I have mine up there. I have 2 versions now. Like,
Yeah.
so clearly, you know. But yeah, it was good. It does make me. I feel like I wish this was like Beast Morpher season 1, in the sense that okay. I always make these Star Wars analogies. I don't know why, but with the prequels, I was of the generation that was disappointed by the prequels. I'm not of the generation that was like, you're an idiot if you like them, and I hate Jake Lloyd or anything like that. But I was like, these are disappointing. I don't like these as much as the originals, and I'm disappointed. However, what I always said was Revenge of the Sith was my favorite by far. And I said, if Revenge of the Sith was the first one, and then we had 2 more prequels, that would have been a good starting point. You don't have to agree with me on that. That's fine. But what I'm saying with this, I feel the same way, where if this was the first Hasbro season as the starting point, where we then go from there, that would have been amazing. Similarly, I'll turn around and make it nice for the prequel fans, because I don't want to get a lot of prequel fan hate. The way you're saying this makes you like Once and Always more, I agree, because there's some backstory with Billy and the setup and Zordon and all that, and it does make me feel like, oh, there's more texture and context to that. If I watch it again, I will like have this backstory that wasn't there originally necessarily. Similarly, while the prequels weren't necessarily my favorite, having now watched a bunch of Clone Wars and Rebels and Ahsoka and all this other stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're pretty good. I get it. You know, like it fills in these gaps where I'm like, in a void that wasn't a movie I loved, but now I'm like invested because of all the backstory I know from other media.
Yeah. It's a thing where I don't think I agree with some of your sentiment. I think if this was the first Hasbro season, it'd be hard to top some of the things they did, but it would be a good starting point.
Go upward and onward. Like if they got good ratings and sold toys with this season, it would encourage them to keep going.
I think with Hasbro in general, I again, like it, the only comparison I can think of is we talked about it in some other videos where Warner Brothers said like over a year ago, hey, we're going to start our movies from scratch. By the way, we have 5 movies coming out still. And this was kind of like that on a smaller scale where they went.
You say Warner Brothers, you mean DC superhero Warner Brothers movies?
Yeah, Warner Brothers is the parent company.
I just want to be clear because Warner Brothers makes a lot of movies. And you meant the DC superhero.
Yes, sorry. I meant the DC superhero movies. They said, hey, we're going to restart this, and it's going to start with a Superman movie in 3 years.
But first, watch Batman and whatever else.
But we have 5 movies coming out that won't mean anything to anybody.
Right.
And for this, on a smaller scale, we had heard rumblings around the time of Once and Always that stuff was changing with Power Rangers. And some people were like, the end is nigh. And other people were like, maybe it's not. Who knows? Maybe this will do really good and something will change. And then it came to this, and they had their Hasbro PulseCon, and we got 2 reveals. One was for a comic. One was for an anniversary that was 5 years ago. And then they went, and Cosmic Fury's coming out soon. So here's the first minute. By the way, there are no toys that we're showing you for it. You get a play set with a weapon that's not in the show. That's a repainted mask. You get a Zord that people have mostly crapped on. And
Wait,
you get,
what was the play set?
It's a Zato mask that has that like tan color.
A play, like a role play set. I was thinking like a fort, a base, a play
if
set.
only. And then a morpher. A morpher that we're both going to get because it's American only.
I'm going to try to get it on sale, but yeah.
Oh, we will get it on sale. Let's be clear. We're not paying full boat for it.
Okay.
But yeah, so like anyways, it just
does seem like they said they're kind of stopping the Lightning collection indefinitely. They're saying they're hiatus, whatever. But it does feel like, why wouldn't they make the last wave be characters from this show and just see how that does, you know?
It again, I'm frustrated that even like there's not even those Hail Marys, like you said, of, hey, here's some stuff that we started, and if we're gonna stop, we may as well, give you something like. Remember that Steel Lightning Collection figure you've been waiting for from Beast Morphers for the last 6 years? Here you go.
Yeah.
But no, you don't get it.
They could have also done like, even if they were just gonna do like just do Red Ranger Amelia, like female Red Ranger figure. A lot of people would get that just because that's what it was. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, or like again, Super Lord Zed that taps into that Mighty Morphin where people only like, well, here's Super Lord Zed. That whatever. They're not doing it. We're veering off a little bit from the actual special, which is fine because it was special. I'm calling it a special because we watched it in one night, so I feel like it was a big movie. But we're gonna go back and review the episodes eventually. But going back to something we were talking about, like this being the end, like the real end of Power Rangers. The story they have is that they're putting the Lightning Collection on hiatus for a while, but gonna maybe come back. That's what it implies. And that there are these other projects, a movie, a young adult show, like and a cartoon were all talked about seriously for a while. And they're saying, well, okay, that's going to be coming, but it's going to be a little longer because of strikes and X, Y, and Z. So the official thought that they're putting out there that I think they're saying is like, in like a year or two, maybe 3 years, we're going to have new show or movie and toys are going to be back, either the exact same thing or something different. That's kind of the message they've put out there. Mm-hmm. You don't think that's necessarily, you think that might be optimistic?
I am more on the lines of I would not be surprised if Hasbro were to sell the license or outsource
different than what I understood you to say. I misunderstood, I think. When you were saying sell it, I thought you meant because they bought it from Saban, and I thought you were saying they were going to sell the whole thing. But you mean they would license it to someone and retain ownership?
I mean, either that or just sell it outright if they thought they could make their money back. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think they will sell it outright because of their track record with IPs. But I got a sidetrack. But you're of the opinion that it's unlikely they're going to come back with any new Power Ranger stuff.
I think Hasbro itself. I think it's more likely Hasbro itself will not be the one putting out new Power Ranger stuff next versus somebody else.
And you don't mean just toys. You mean media.
I mean the media, and then the toys theoretically could follow depending on how the media goes.
What would your timeline be for that? What would you guess the earliest something?
So if both the actors and writer strikes end this fall 2023.
I think the writer strike has ended, hasn't it?
I think it has. I don't know for sure. I haven't looked into it.
Like they have to dot some I's and stuff, but
I didn't want to definitively say it ended because I don't know. But let's say both of those end before the end of the year.
Sure.
The ball gets rolling.
Yes.
On whatever the new project is sometime next year.
Right.
We wouldn't see it at earliest in 2 years.
Right.
So I don't think we're getting anything till at least 2026.
Well, 2 years would be 2020. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, and that's fine. That's kind of what I was saying. That if everything they're saying is true and how they intend it to be, then in 2-ish years, we could maybe see some new stuff, which is kind of what they're saying. But I thought you were saying like, no, it's not going to be even that soon. It's going to be a long time.
I think that is like crazy optimistic, the timeline I just said.
Right, okay, but that's the timeline I think they want people to have in their heads based on what they've put out there.
What have they put out there?
The messaging they're putting out there. I'm not saying it's true, but I think they want people to kind of keep it in their head that it's going to be coming relatively soon. I'm not arguing that this is true or not. I was asking you, what do you think? Because you're kind of saying something different to me now than you did a half hour ago.
No.
You said something like, I think Power Rangers is dead. I think Hasbro's done with it, and they're putting it on the shelf, and they're not picking it up until something crazy happens. You said something along those lines.
Yes.
Great. Then I just said, so what's the soonest you think something can happen if they were giving it to someone else or something? And you're like, like 2 years. Like, that's not that crazy.
I guess I was thinking of this year, so it'd be 3 years, but
regardless.
I think that's absolute best case scenario.
I think, yes, that is a best case scenario.
I don't think that's likely, though.
Okay, what do you think is likely? That's the question.
I think
that
we're not going to see any new media for 3 to 4 years. And I don't have confidence after this that Hasbro will be the one doing it.
Okay, so you think it will be a year or two longer than what they're portraying, what people like me understood to be happening.
I think you're perceiving because they haven't said anything.
okay, you're splitting hairs though. I'm acknowledging that I'm potentially probably wrong. You think that if I'm saying, oh, within 2 or 3 years something should come out based on my understanding of them, you're saying no, it's going to be 3, 4, 5 years. And
I think I think pad your optimism by 1 to 2 years.
And you think it's possible, if not likely, that it won't be Hasbro putting this stuff out.
Correct. I think next year at Morphicon, unless something drastic happens, nothing new Power Rangers is going to be talked about outside of comics.
I say comics, yeah. Do you think they, in the next few months, let's say the last few Lightning Collection things drizzle out there, the last few Cosmic Fury things drizzle out there, and then we're going to see no Power Ranger toys on the shelves, not including like Super 7 or boutique, things like that you get in the internet, but like just at Target or at Walmart or wherever. You think we're not going to?
I don't know what new Cosmic Fury stuff's coming out. I think we have it all.
I'm allowing for like if another sword showed up, like just any little things that are in the pipeline right now. That do you think in 6 months to a year we'll see any Power Ranger stuff on shelves that isn't just sitting there from a year and a half ago?
No. Outside of Super 7 and third
not
parties.
Counting Super 7, right?
Yeah.
And so do you think if it does take them, let's say 5 years to get something new out, whether Hasbro does it or not, do you think they will have no toys between now and then?
I think new toys will come out. I think it'll be a little while though, because either something needs to change at Hasbro, or they rely on their licensing out to people like 3-0 and Super 7, and maybe even SH Figure Arts gets back in the mix. Who knows? Stuff like that. Flames Toys, I think, has the license now too. They're letting them use it. Like, I think they're going to rely on that as new Ranger stuff coming out, and they're not going to do. I almost said another swear word. They're not going to do stuff for a bit. And I think the rest of this year is the remastered Mighty Morphin, and that's it. No new Cosmic Fury, no new Lightning Collection, no new exclusives, nothing else other than those, and then whatever's else out from the 3 companies I mentioned.
I think you're probably right. I guess my thought was that maybe they would do more props or role play items, but I guess they're making the Kickstarter for the final Mighty Morphin stuff. Yeah, when things get uncertain, they go to Mighty Morphin. They've kind of already done that. With the exception, did they do all the helmets? Are they missing pink?
They're missing yellow.
So maybe they'll do yellow just to complete that set, but
we'll see.
Well, we talked about the special. We talked about the season as well as a bunch of other stuff because it is an overview of what we watched as well as our thoughts going in and coming out.
Our feelings on Power Rangers.
Yeah. So in the future, we will review the episodes individually. Although here's the question that we didn't discuss. Theoretically, we were like doing Mystic Force, and we're like, okay, we're going to talk about Cosmic Fury, then we'll get back to Mystic Force. Next week, are we going to pick up on Mystic Force? Are we going to do Cosmic Fury? Are we going to alternate week to week?
I think Cosmic Fury until it's done.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think selfishly it would be worth our time more.
Sure. Like, you think more people will be interested in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know more people are interested in it than Mystic Force.
Well, yes, but here's the other thing. We are a small channel, and there's tons of people talking about Cosmic Fury. We might be the only people talking about Mystic Force. I agree, and it's likely we will do Cosmic Fury next. But if you strongly disagree or have a reason that we shouldn't, let us know in the comments. I think we could wrap this one up for now, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
Yeah, I want to end on a positive with Cosmic Fury because we did ramble a lot per usual. Okay. I really liked Billy in Cosmic Fury. Spoiler alert, he wasn't wearing this. I enjoyed him in it. I thought Mick was good. Yep. Heckle was a kind of out of left field. That was a great inclusion.
Yeah, and getting to see that actor wear that suit, it was like righting a wrong from Dino Charge for sure.
I thought how they got their new powers was a unique way of doing it. Kind of called back to that Zordon era of we had powers, but something happened, so now we got to get new powers. I kind of liked that continuation, which was nice. We haven't had that in, I don't even remember the last time we had that.
Megaforce to Super Megaforce, I think.
Yeah, you're right. So that was cool. I liked that. I think the organic kind of growth of certain characters was good. I think
yes, for sure. We talked about that, how like there weren't a special episode where somebody learns about the meaning of teamwork, or like they didn't have that, but they had growth of characters, and there were some of those little life lessons, but they were a minute or two here or there over the course of an episode or adventure, and not the whole episode, and that worked really well.
I think overall, like
Fern becoming the Orange Ranger, we knew it was going to happen, but it was awesome because we
that's
wanted
true, yeah.
it to happen, and then it happened. So that was cool.
I think in terms of kind of quick, like rattling them off, I think Amelia I like a little bit more after this. Javi I like a little bit more.
I definitely like Javi more after this.
Fern I like a lot more. Zato, I'd say the same, if not less.
Definitely not less. Zato has always been pretty high for me, and I don't.
We'll get into it in the episodes, but Ion I like less. Izzy I actually liked a little bit less.
Well, she was being not great with Fern, but she kind of owned it. So I'm like, all right.
I think there was more time watching this that I disliked Ion and Izzy more than I liked them.
I acknowledge how you felt about them, and I agree. I felt that way about Ion. I didn't feel that bad about Izzy.
Okay.
I'll go back to positives though. With Fern, not only was I happy to see her be the Orange Ranger, but the way it happened with Solon, it was like I think I said this in one. I'm like, that was dumb, but I loved it. Like it was so like touching and just like, oh look, she's Solon's dinosaur. Oh, she's like I loved it. I loved it.
It was very like it reminded me of anytime you've seen the Flash get his powers, but with the Power Ranger.
Oh, because like the lightning hitting the
There's an energy explosion, and then there's a catalyst, and whoop, powers.
Yes, that's all true. And that's why it was silly. Like, what just happened? But the fact that it was like, you know, her buddy dinosaur, that's her dinosaur. Like, it was very charming.
No, that I liked. I thought that was a good kind of
going back to like, I always liked Solon, but I like her even better after this. They gave her
same, 100%.
She got to be huge. That was so fun. Like, her and Billy working together was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I enjoyed a lot that we'd be remiss to not talk about, even though we'll talk about a lot in that episode, is seeing Slither and Mucus in their human forms quite a bit, and then come over to the hero side, which is always fun. And they were in it quite a bit. I liked that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I did enjoy the people that we got back. There was only one disappointment, but in a positive way, where I really liked Tarek. And I wanted him to get that kind of extra involvement, and they dangled it and then like didn't give it. And I was like,
yeah.
I kept thinking something was going to happen.
More Rangers based on the amount of Zords they had. If they wanted to, they could have given Tarek a power. They could have given a few other people powers, especially based on like Q Ranger footage and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they decided not to, which probably to focus on the core team and whatever. But
I liked the Zords overall.
Yeah.
I thought those were good. I thought how they got them and some of the quirks of the Zords, like being able to autopilot them to get around footage, things like that, I think were interesting. I think, there was something else. Oh, we talked about this a lot, where a lot of the supporting characters from Cosmic or from Dino Fury came back, and every time I'm like, I really like seeing you. It was
surprising, and it was surprising, and it was like old, like you knew the Rangers were coming back, but it's like, oh, I didn't think we'd see Pop, you know, like
and then Jay and Jayborg were in ever so slightly, and
they were in just enough. They were in just enough,
all that
utilized properly as journalists, like
everything about that I liked. Honestly,
we should have Vulcan Skull should have had a little cameo somewhere.
If only.
Because they didn't have it in Once and Only, so it's like, okay, do it. Well, I mean, they had the paper, but the actors weren't in it. And this is me dreaming, but I said this to you, and at one point they're like, "Oh, I have a spy, or I have an inside person." I thought it was gonna be one or both of them, literally just like in one of the suits, like, "Oh, I'm a putty," not a putty, a Zed.
The music thing was so goofy, but was so much better than we thought it was gonna be.
The what thing?
The undercover metal band.
Oh yes.
That was so like.
Chrome?
It was Meat Chrome.
Meat Chrome. Wanted posters of the Rangers.
It was one of those things that was so goofy. I liked the design of the Zed cronies. I'm forgetting the name of them.
It was.
It wasn't Zennies. It was like.
It was something like Zeddies. It wasn't that, but it was something like that.
Yeah,
like
I thought those designs were cool. Again, Ollie being evil pretty much the whole time, I thought was great.
And that actor did a great job. He was a straight up villain out of like a Toku. Like the way he did it was great.
Yeah, I really, again, there's a lot more positives. I know sometimes we can get lost in the weeds on the negatives. There was definitely a lot more positives. I think
also when we're watching it, we're like, look at that, haha, and like talking to each other, all the fun stuff as we're going. Now we're done. We're like, all right, what do we think about it? And so like we start really overanalyzing it.
Yeah, I think really, I'll speak for myself only.
Mm-hmm.
I think a little bit of the negativity and bitterness is just coming from, we don't know what we're getting next, and we don't know if we're getting anything, and that's why it's so easy to fall into that, even though I did enjoy this and it was fun, but now it's over.
You're right. And that even comes back to the things we're saying we wish they did, because anything we wish they did, theoretically, will never be done. It's not like, well, maybe next season or maybe in another end. Nope, this was it. Potentially never again. You know? So
because all we've heard rumors of or previous news from years ago that's probably outdated is reboot.
Yeah.
And this is 30 years, and they've talked about it a lot of times, 30 years of Rangers that, will we come back? Probably not. Who knows? I don't know. Like, so yeah, it is very bittersweet, but again, I did enjoy it. I do recommend people watch it. If you are going to watch it and you haven't seen Once and Always and haven't somehow been spoiled by it from us talking about it, watch that and then Once and Always, because especially at the end, it'll make a heck of a lot more sense if you watch it in that order, and you'll enjoy them both more.
Yeah, somebody, there's no way that just happened to line up. It must have been meant to come out in the other order, and something got messed up with like all the crazy stuff in the world going on. Because it literally, it's like, here's a setup for a plot, and then Once and Always is like, let's pick up that setup. Like, it's, yeah. I really liked it. I had a really good time watching it.
I did too. And I enjoyed watching it with you, and I'm glad we got to do our multi-hour commentary mystery science session.
That made me a little sad, because we did that for the end of Cosmic Fury, and we did that for Beast Morphers, and we did it a couple other times, but this like kind of might be the last time we could ever do it, potentially.
Yeah.
Well, on that sad note,
at least there's Godzilla -0, I guess.
Hey, but until next time, I've been Gazbot.
Until next time, I'm the big dog who's furious, might be another F word in the middle around the 23-minute mark. And to the power.
To the power.
We're up way past our bedtime.
Yep.
The words. Oh, that sounds awesome. I'm excited for mine. Let's see if mine work. I just have generic sounds for my Legacy Morpher.
Well, I have a turbo key. Do you want a spoiler of something you won't like about it?
Sure.
It is, there's like no metal in it. It's all plastic. It feels super light.
I have this as a fallback.
Well, I'm glad I have both, but it's pretty fun.
Did you get all your right coins?
Oh yeah, did some people not get their correct coins?
Some people have gotten duplicates.
No, I got all the right coins, but if you look, it looks like that has little scratches on the star.
I've heard that on multiples.
Okay, and I was like, did it come that way? Did I do that by playing with it for a minute? Or is it like, yeah.
Oh, bonus PSA for both you and anybody watching. If you have any interest in getting Tommy coins made by Starlight Studios, they are ending those now, so you need to go buy them on their eBay store.
It's an official product.
They're like, why would we keep making these? So if you ever wanted them, especially the Zeo ones, for all of the Zeo Rangers, they're discontinuing them, go get them now.
Good to know. Those are not compatible with this, though.
No, they are compatible with this, though.
Yes. Well, I have. Hold on.
I have the Bandai. He only has the Hasbro. He's reaching for a duplicate fake news that's definitely not the Bandai one either.
This is the Bandai one that was modified by J-Man. But this is the Starlight Zeo with the like kind of clear translucent, which was the main one I wanted to have.
I have that, but weathered.
In
one of these bins.
The only weathered ones I have are the ones that came with the Bandai, with the Hasbro. So this is a long after credits. All right,
but it's positive.
Everybody. Well, yeah,